Bell. This entry is dated 2/3. Entry. Edge of the city. Threshold. Building. Bell. After the metro from Michel, I begin to wonder where everybody is in this brand new apartment cité. The concierge, the doorman, but there is no one. Personne. Not a soul about the complex. There's nobody here. Nor is there a main door, but the only entry appears on the side, and would seem a side entrance, if I could find the main door, or a way into the basement, for it stands on a bare spot beside an eroded ditch, from which some loose dirt trickles onto the cement at my feet. I keep going around the building, but the other walls present rows of thick curtains behind glass, which seem to keep my erratic stumbling noises in the dark outside from entering into the rooms. I enter unheard then, probably, at the entree on the side, between two rectilinear arrays of gleaming mailboxes set in the walls. There's another feeling, another sense to the building inside. There's a hard new fabric on the floor. The textures are unfamiliar. I do not recognize the sounds. There is no remnant in me of these metallic echoes of footsteps on the floor, above the mailboxes, along the tiled ceiling, through the long, curved hallway, and throughout the building, the clang of a door closing like a cell's. Is it the high polish on the ceiling, or the small glass lozenges in the mailboxes, or the sheen of the new synthetic substances in the bare floor of the vestibule, which sends up these distracting sparkles over the glass door in the entree, and the blue translucent pane around the sonnerie? I think as I move along the passage, there is something primitive in the new, as in the earth, in the dense, repellent substances I feel but cannot remember, or trace to any feeling familiar to me. But some are alien, some are new creations. But this building was then on the horizon, under what was left of a denuded, flattened knob or hillock, covered with wiregrass, weed, rusted coils, lopsided fragments of brick, cement block, barbed wire, and spears of twisted aluminum, wrenched or sheared off. Abandoned, left stuck in the ground in random places, detritus upreared from the horizon of the mound, and smaller bits of rubble had washed or been swept downhill to the edge of the pavement, and underfoot caused me to stumble into the cratered luster of this moon-like terrain. As I left the smooth surface of the street and mounted the crude new colline, Slowly the top of the building became visible, as if some presence in the ground were lifting it slowly, as if it were emerging slowly from underwater. And as I found a path which receded from the light of the street, the surface of the field in the near distance grew smooth and appeared to be illuminated, cast in another light, and carried a different feeling, not of upheaval, but of something bare, virginal, unmarked, like the feeling of the new matière I would discover a moment later. Yet the apartment building, though I would enter it in a moment, seemed only a low warehouse or locomotive. The windows of the upper story raised themselves along the brow of the hill, peering over. It was this light that came over the near horizon. It was the proximity of the horizon, and the sudden appearance of the line of windows set just above the ground, before I knew there was a building, which gave the earth a guarded feeling, a dull presence, a uniform glare, as of a guarded area, a surface watched over, illuminated by a fluorescence of surrounding walls, watchtowers, in which the lamps were positioned, protected, adjusted low, because the surveillance was extremely attentive, the guardians watchful. The building seemed cleft in half. I was in a declivity, a decline. The road sloped down and up the next hill in an unbroken curve to the upper windows. It was the address of the Austrians, transients I didn't know. Cousin, so I had heard, of someone I had met twice before, between rooms, awaiting some word to leave the city. But they were not at home, yet I couldn't be certain of the sonnerie. If the bell worked, if it were ringing, if it were connected. I could not hear, I could not feel if it were connected, if it left my fingertips, ran on inside. For the resonance of the subway from Saint-Michel, a sound not in the air alone, but in the vibration, the drumming noise inside the corridor, in my ears, the headache which seemed overhead, dispersed in the air of the building. Then there seemed faint pulses within the house, a current from the wire that registered, a feeling, a distance traversed, a passage, a movement inward along the corridor, a distance touched, traversed with the forefinger tip of my writing hand, a feeling of unheard echoes. I stopped ringing the bell and turned toward the crest of the hill, where there are other, smaller houses, spaced apart. I move under them and notice the tiny recessed cubes in the blank back walls, small bathroom windows, overlooking an abandoned field and a ravine. New houses arranged on plots, staked off from other squares remaining empty, the backs set on concrete posts over the ravine. There is nowhere to go. The field, the ravine, the glowing walls of the houses, the light of space, the feeling of the new floor, the resonance of Saint Michel, the moment inside. It is here then. This